you, man.
You
Long
doing,
time no
man?
see. I missed you, man.
I know. I appreciate. Hey, so the verdict question before you walked in is,
Yeah.
what would you want from a 77-year-old?
What would I want from a 7
Yeah,
year old? Wisdom and knowledge.
that's what I said. I said peppermints because at black churches, all the old ladies got big hats and 2 pounds of peppermints, and they.
I love that.
So that's what. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. You know what? I'm glad that we're back. You know, it's been 2 months of
Yeah.
fights nonstop, and I'll be honest with you, Fred. During COVID and everything else, I mean, we're still in the midst of it, but I missed it so much, man. I mean, I mean, you're used to seeing us back and forth. I'm used to crisscrossing with you all over the country and stuff.
Sure.
And man, that it hurt my soul. It really you don't realize how much the sport is a part of you and how much it really makes you who you are and stuff. And I sure as heck missed it like you wouldn't believe.
And I too do miss it. And how has the transition been with no fans? How have you adjusted to that?
You know what? I'm glad I'm working. I'm glad the fighters are performing. And you know what? I got to give credit to the fighters for not missing a beat, because it's not easy. No fans. It's just different. And look, I'm glad the fighters are making, doing well and still furthering their careers, but it's not the same, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no fans. There's no, the energy's there with the fighters, but it's so different. Even seeing, like, I love seeing all the media members and seeing you there and chopping it up with you a few hours before the fights and finding out how you're doing, what's going on. And I appreciate the work that you do and what you bring to the table, because you give a very fair and honest assessment on the sport. And I miss those interactions with people. So that is why it's just so different. It makes me sad to a point, but I'm hopeful that we can get fans back in the arena sooner than later.
So let's work backwards a little bit. The Charlo show this past Saturday, how'd you like that?
Look, they looked unbelievable. I mean, I was with them in Houston the week before, Monday and Tuesday. Monday, Jermall on Tuesday. And those guys are just so focused and determined. What I love about them is that they're not satisfied no matter what they do. They want more. And that's what brings their edginess about them. Some people say, well, the Charlos are edgy. It's like, no, the Charlos aren't edgy. The Charlos want to be some of the all-time greats in this sport. They know that they can make generational wealth. They're making really good living. I was at Jermall's house a few weeks ago, and he's doing well. But I like that. I love that fire. I like that tenacity. I think we need more of that in the sport. They're not complacent. They're constantly trying to get better. Look, nobody's done that to Sergey Derevyanchenko. Jermall Charlo did. And I don't want to hear that, Golovkin did this to Derevyanchenko and he took his soul and all this other, this and that he's washed up. Derevyanchenko's not washed up. He just ran into a better fighter in Jermall Charlo. And then Jermall, what he was able to do to Rosario, oh my goodness, Fred, I was blown away.
Yeah, we was having a debate as a complete show. I was thoroughly impressed with both the Charlos. I have to get used to Jermall's Charlo style. Like Jermall is the more conventional, behind the jab, strong jab, deliver the right hand, follow it with a left hook.
Yep.
And Jermall and Derek James have this style that only them two can create. and it's not like a boxing rhythm. It's not an organic boxing cadence. And that's the debate that we were having yesterday. And I'm learning to appreciate it. I'm on the road to appreciation. And I think his power is just uncanny. His power is uncanny.
Well, 7 of his last wins have been by knockout, typically. And Adam Abramowitz went ahead and he mentioned this on his article on SN Boxing. And he mentioned the fact that as you go up in competition, this is the absolute truth, you typically, your knockouts start to go by the wayside. You start to go a little bit, the distance and stuff. You're still picking up wins if you're an elite fighter. But with Jermall, it's been the opposite. The first half of his career is going the distance and stuff. And now we're seeing this resurgence of power. He's wiping guys out left and right. And what he had to do to Jason Rosario on Saturday night. Rosario came in tip-top shape. The
Yes.
boy can crack. Man,
Yep.
can he unload and hammer you away. But Jermell, it's like he got close to the fire, but he didn't get burned. And instead, he burned Jason Rosario.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And you talk about getting burned. We go. Oh, so how you know? You haven't been on the show, but similar to like the boxing voice, people send in questions,
Okay, got you.
and you have the right to answer it. If you don't want to answer, you can pass on, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
And but he says, what would you think of a Maul Triple G fight?
I think Jermall Charlo should be the favorite in that fight because I think Triple G, I give him all the respect in the world, but Jermall Charlo is in his physical prime. This guy did not back away from Derevyanchenko. He held his ground in the center of the ring and he carved up his face. Golovkin has had, I think, as he's gotten older, he's lost half a step, maybe even a full step. I think the fight, in my opinion, that needs to be made, Fred, is Jermall Charlo, Canelo Alvarez. That's the fight that everybody wants to see. It's the two best fighters at 160. Charlo and Andrade, okay, fine. If that's the secondary, I don't mind seeing that. But that Jermall Charlo and Canelo Alvarez would pack 80,000 people at Reliance Stadium in Houston. Can you imagine when fans come back to the stadium, with Charlo being from Houston, Canelo being Mexican, what he was able to do against Kirkland and to 35,000 people? I mean, it would be crazy.
Right. And Kirkland is from Texas. I think Houston, something like that. So imagine a bigger name. Man, you just hit a home run with that. I didn't put two and two together with that last night because I was thinking Canelo's not going to fight him. They going to deliberate. He going to fight a DAZN fighter because the friction between the entities and stuff. So they don't want to make the money together. It's not going to happen. So Jamal goes off and builds this whole profile. And then he comes back and says, well, this is what the fans want, So, but I like that.
I mean, can you imagine? It would
Bring the fans back to that.
It would be a box office bonanza. And look, I'm tired of all the negativity that infiltrates boxing and stuff. PBC and Top Rank worked together on Wilder Fury #2. That went well. It's like, listen, like that's for the higher ups to deal with. But when there is big money to be made on a fight like Canelo and Jermall Charlo, I believe that people in this sport can put egos aside, whatever the case may be, and make the fight that the fans want to see. It would draw crazy revenue at the gate, assuming that we get fans back. It would be a monster on pay-per-view or whatever they want to do, whatever his situation is with DAZN. You might make it like a DAZN pay-per-view and have it on DAZN pay-per-view. And then you could do a regular pay-per-view too. Just like how ESPN and Fox got together on Wilder Fury #2. There's a way to make that happen. It's above my pay grade, but I'm just thinking out loud here, Fred.
No, you're absolutely right. And that would be a great segue, like in terms of real fights. Like that would be a great segue, not unless we get Crawford Spence prior to that. But I think that's a great reintroduction to boxing.
Man, can you imagine? And look, what I like about Canelo is that the guy, I like how he takes control of his own career. He's like, look, I didn't say that I didn't want to fight that guy. You guys said I didn't want to fight that guy. I'll fight anybody. I like how much of an attitude he has. Jamal has the same attitude. And I don't want to hear, this side of the fence or this side of the political aisle. Bottom line is this, Fred. You and I have been around this sport for a long time. If you keep winning and you keep holding on to your title, you can't be denied those big money fights. It ain't going to happen. You keep winning, they can't deny you because you hold the power in your two fists.
Facts.